it's great to be here. It's terrible to be at the fag end of things. And what I did do, and I'm sure you're going to be grateful for that, is that I went to my presentation and I chopped it down to 25% of what it might have been. Thank you. So, life must illuminate. Does work. It must drag. It must enthuse. Romance. Reveal, conceal, mystify. And all these other things. Anybody doubt any of those? No, not anymore. Not after what you've heard today. It can straighten, it can bend, it can appear, it can vanish and create. Of course. Black holes, white sources, the curve of space-time, and then E is equal to mc squared. Then C is equal to root E upon M. So everything can be tied down to this magnificent tool that all of us are privileged to use. Lighting for retail. This does everything that everybody has been talking about. It attracts, it enthuses, it mystifies, there's everything there. Okay? But somehow, it doesn't, those are all the wants. These are all the wants. And what you saw earlier, this is based on organic growth. It's fun, but it's small. It's chaotic. It's disorganized. It's too visible. There's too much choice. There's too much capacity. It doesn't work for the savvy global retailer. The savvy global retailer wants to earn a whole lot of money with biggest bang for the smallest buck. Deal you. Okay? So, what does he do? He takes those anonymous people right at the base. Okay? And so there are all those anonymous people down at the base. And he wants them to go up there where instead of just being Janta, they are now in the yacht and business class, the Breitling Rolex ownership and the custom Bentley ownership. And this is what he's really praying for. He creates this little funnel.
I wanna be on the cover of Forbes magazine, smiling next to Oprah and the Queen. Oh, every time I close my eyes, I see my
He's trying to take people to the world of not I need. He wants them to want. He doesn't want them to always buy the Titans that Mike is designing. He doesn't want the regular t-shirts and the stuff that I'm wearing. He wants them to enter this rarefied atmosphere of really, really high value buying. So the first case study I want to talk about is this interesting phenomenon where the brand, instead of the big McDonald's sign, right? Or the big Apple visible sign, it comes down to a small thing like that. And you watch their show windows and you see there are just 3 products of Prada in there, but there's a whole sense of atmosphere, there's a whole sense of a different zone of belonging that these people contrive to create. See? So now, is art really retail? And a lot of my business is actually lighting for art and helping the gallerist or the curator to convince the visitors to their galleries that paying those exorbitant amounts of money is really worth it. Okay? So, treating art like retail, is it a sacrilege, or are we being sanctimonious by saying this? I mean, I work with artists who sometimes, like Anish Kapoor told me, Lyle, I just want a white box. I want my art to speak for itself. And yet others will come and tell me that nahi yaar, thoda drama kar lo. And I have to do that for them. So this is really funny because sometimes when you're designing a home for people, you know, I remember I was designing the home for this fairly successful industrialist, and we landed up looking at one beautiful corner in the home, and she said to me, "Lyle, what shall we hang here? Should we do the X or should we do the Y or should we do the Z?" And we realized that none of them really belonged in that corner. And then you know what she said? "I think I'll just put a potted plant there." Okay? And that's how trivial it can really be. The artists were meeting me and asking me, "Yaar, tum uska ghar bana rahe ho? You know, you're making her house. Why don't you introduce us?" And I hated to tell them that this is what she actually was likely to put in one corner, that one coveted corner which would have earned them a lot of money. So there you saw this, you know, scene in Montmartre where there are these, you know, you could walk up to an artist there and he could duplicate a Chagall, a Degas for you. They're all so talented, but they're struggling for space. So in one of the shows that I had to light, you know, this is the show of Jahangir Jani's, and this is really interesting because I was making a pitch to someone to work on their home project, and I was showing her one of these slides, and she said, "Lyle, I own that piece, but it doesn't look anything like what you've lit it here, like what your picture shows." And I said, "Okay, turn me loose in your home and I'll fix it for you." So what Jahangir Jani had done is, he'd done these really white sculptures, and they were called saint, because they're all in classical saint poses, you know, Saint Bartholomew, Saint James, Gabriel the Archangel, all the famous martyrs, Saint Stephen, and they all had the same face, and they just had this gold paint poured on them. So what we did is, we simply put an amber filter and mixed it with a little bit of white light, and he said, "I want this mood to be really sepulchral. I want it to be dull and dark, as if we were going back in time to look at it." And that's what we tried to do for his exhibition. A similar thing was for, this is of some importance to me because this is in a warehouse sort of gallery, and this is the very well-known sculptor Mrinalini Mukherjee, who passed away recently. And her brief to me was, "Lyle, I want people to have to go up close to my work. I want to have them transit through a space of darkness and then come and engage with what I've produced." And that's what we were trying to respond to. All the galleries that we've done, we've tried to fit them. If you look up at the ceiling, you don't just see a lighting track, you will see a track that is rigged so that I could hang a projector, I could hang a speaker, I could hang any kind of lighting fixture that I was using anywhere in the space. And this is in response to what I think a lot of people have already touched on, that the future of art, you know, is really not just in canvas, it's going to head the installation way, and galleries have to equip themselves to show this. These are just some visuals of different galleries and different shows that we've lit, but here's an interesting one. This is a gallery in Bombay, Abhay Mascara's gallery. And here I remember I got into a real bind with the architect because this was a beautiful space. You know, that ceiling is 9.5 meters high. This is an old cotton warehouse. And, you know, I wanted to do this lighting truss, which we could winch up into the ceiling when you wanted to use the whole volume and winch it down even if you wanted to show very small works. And I wanted to rig it, as you can see, there's a projector hanging over there, so I connected it to a server room at the back. And this guy said, no, we can't have this big ugly structure destroying the sanctity of this volume. So of course, you know, I'm a combative person, though I may not look like it. And to my good luck, this poor guy ran into a big problem with the municipality and they sealed his place. The architect got fed up and then I got turned loose inside and I had to do that truss. So this is what it allows him to do. You can see the size of that installation and you can see one truss is now folded up there in the corner against the ceiling. Okay? He can do this. These are dirigibles by the artist Max Streicher. Or he could do this, performance art with huge buckets of paint hanging all the way from the ceiling. Both trusses folded up against the ceiling and it's just lit like a stadium with bright floodlighting from the top. Or this, or this, or this. This is a technique that a stage lighting guy would really appreciate, because what we do for this is we actually cut profiles to stick inside profile lamps so that there's absolutely no light spill. It just hits the object you're lighting and it doesn't spill anywhere else, and it will actually give you that impression of floating in midair. More galleries. Now here was a photographer whose work I lit. This is a guy called Samar Jodha. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. But Samar prints all his photographs on black cloth. And this is a series that he did of a tribe which is now almost extinct. I think there are just about 350 of them left in the northeastern part of India. And his brief was that, Lyle, these people are vanishing. Some years from now, this tribe will not exist. So that was actually, this was an exhibition about no light. And people actually had to be guided around the gallery with a torch and then made to stand in front of this. And the torch would be switched off. And this is what you saw. This you can see the ladder over there while the setup was still being done. Of course, when we do, this gallery is dedicated completely to photography. So for those of you who are interested in technicalities, this is about white balance, getting a correct 5500 color temperature inside. And again, the really sensible thing that we do in all these places is to keep them really flexible, to be able to rig them for multimedia, for sound, for light, color temperature changes whenever you need it. Okay, now so much for art as retail. What I want to take you through now is a selling experience that has been devised by one of my most recent clients. Now this guy is a designer, jewelry maker, and I've only just finished this, let me call it his showroom. Okay. What this fellow does is that he wants to take people around an experience of really high value living. It's almost like, the sign you see outside some restaurant, rights of admission reserved. Sometimes you look inside a space and you pat your wallet and you wonder, do I have the kind of money it takes to go in there? Okay? So his intention was, if you can't afford the stuff I sell, don't come. Okay? But if you can, you will be treated to this experience. So, this is the entrance. You walk into this pristine white lobby. There's just one statue of Ganesh over there. May it bring him good fortune. You go up the stairs and you enter this little chamber and this door opens. Now, what this man actually, his grandfather was a pawnbroker, okay? And over the years, as the Indian royal families, particularly in this area of the country, which is Rajasthan, as they began running out of money, they would send one trusted retainer to the pawn shop, and he would be told, please get as much money as you can for this. So this man actually built up a collection of objects, valuable objects that were never reclaimed. Really different sort of details there. Something that definitely doesn't figure in your graphs. So, It's divided into apparel, which is basically what you see there. And we've tried to be, as you can see, there's a spectrometer, and we've taken detailed measurements because some of these are really, really old and very, very, very delicate. So please don't tell me that the Lux meter is on top of the glass. We did take readings from inside as well. So this, all the apparel over there, the shoes, the headgear, kerchiefs, the scarves, everything points in a certain direction. And you're guided around this. The lights come on to different scenes when you walk in. Hello? And this place is actually on top of this factory. So it takes you around there, and then he leads you to this. I thought I was loud enough, but really I'm not. So that section is eyewear, and what the curator has done is he has led you into this little cul-de-sac, and all the eyes are lit so that they look, they turn inward. And because even in those days, apparently they were quite fashionable. There are different color tones to the lenses, as you can see there. I think the oldest one over here is about 212 years old. And the eyes are all looking inward to that table where there are some really old manuscripts on display. And then you walk inside, the lights dim down, you can see all the eyes looking inward, the books on the table, and there on the other wall is the portrait of the founder. This is also interesting because what you see here in this part of the drawing is the entrance to the bathroom. Okay. Now everybody else wants a conventional sign that says ladies or gents or toilet. What this designer wanted was an ablution symbol. Okay. So this is a 380-year-old ablution vessel, and this signs you into the loo. And I kept saying, Paul, we need this place to be bright. This is a loo after all. And he said, no, too much light, no. And this is what actually signs you into the loo. That is the one light he permitted me to use to light up the handle on the door. Okay. So the little solid object you see in the middle is actually the handle on the door, which you pull, and then that's the loo. A little bit of daylight. This is the other part. Sorry about the resolution there, but this is the other part where many of these objects may not actually be as valuable as I hoped. They are pretending to be valuable, and that's what this space is about. It's about being led through this journey into the past where your present means of extravagance are competing with something that possibly happened a few hundred years ago. There's no jewelry on display there just now. This is his collection of watches. This is a stage. So when you walk in as one of his invited guests, you will actually walk across those, there would be a bunch of musicians sitting over here, playing soft Carnatic music, right? This is a water body around, and once the water is flowing there, you have this gentle ripple of water, And we've set up a different light scene for when there are musicians performing here. So this area is basically the Mushahara. This is the place where you are entertained. And what you see in the foreground over here are basically his collection of hookah mouthpieces, which is the largest in the world. And there in the background are all the various vessels of intoxication that must have been used and still are. Amardeep can tell us more about this neck of the woods. Now, a little note about, you see those lights in the ceiling there? That's what is actually lighting those things. Each one of them is a cut profile to light up that particular object. Little examples of what was in those vitrines that you saw. This is his collection of Mughal and Rajput miniatures. This was a real challenge because the designer said, "Lyle, I am going to sandwich this in between 2 layers of glass, and you must light it. No light must come in my eye." Okay. So this is what we actually managed to pull off. As you can see the little pinpricks of light in the ceiling. Each one of those is precisely directed to these paintings, and I swear you can stand on the other side and you will not have a twinkle in your eye. The whole idea was to be able to create this cornucopia of wealth, right? Layer upon layer upon layer, that you could, in a sort of a translucent vision, see one behind the other, and it's supposed to give you this sense of enormous wealth. Collection of more paintings and manuscripts, and then at the end of it all, you go into his office. He would not let me take pictures with his jewelry on display, so the jewelry is all being removed. Two sides of the office with busts for display of his most extravagant pieces. Now, everybody knows about the fat Indian wedding, right? And what every great designer, whether it's Nirav Modi or Shantanu and Nikhil or Rohit Bal, they're all hoping for that big fat Indian wedding to walk into their store one day and say, "Do our wedding clothes." In the same way, what this guy is hoping is that some billionaire will walk in every other week and say, "Hamari shadi ka jewelry kar lo." That's what this is designed for. So after he takes them around the museum, entertains them with 100 different types of tea and coffee and wine and everything, he brings them in here to his office, shows them the most beautiful pieces, and then sits them down in this lounge. The lounge is neutral. That table has got a whole bunch of light on top which will flood it when he puts his jewelry trays on display. And then he has this mirror. So, while the family are comfortably seated on this, the bride or the bridesmaids actually put this, try on this jewelry, and then they go and preen in front of hoods. Yeah. So then the young lady will try out these necklaces and gongats and bangles and whatever else they are, and she's supposed to preen in front of this mirror while mom-in-law and dad of course will be checking his bank balance on the phone or something. But and then we just did a nice piece of lighting above there so that anywhere you stand, you are lit. You can see yourself in the mirror and your family can see what you play. I'm sorry there wasn't a supermodel to do this for me, but thank you.